the gift she deserved. Snow began to fall in soft, featherlight flakes outside the apartment window, etching delicate, fleeting patterns on the glass. 6-year-old Ava leaned in close, her small nose pressed to the cold surface, watching in awe as the world outside slowly transformed into a white canvas. The quiet of winter settled over the city like a secret, gentle, muffled, and magical in the way only children could truly understand. Inside, the air was filled with the scent of cinnamon, cocoa, and something deeper, something like hope and anxiety brewed together. Elise stood by the stove, stirring a pot slowly, her voice humming low and calm. Behind her, Martin crouched near their modest artificial tree, adjusting a crooked ornament shaped like a fox, Ava's favorite animal. She spun from the window, eyes bright. "Do you think Grandma's house will have a big tree?" she asked, tugging on Martin's sleeve. He scooped her into his lap, brushing a loose curl from her forehead. "It's the biggest tree I've ever seen, sweetheart," he said, smiling as warmly as he could manage. He didn't mention the weight in his chest when the invitation had arrived, a card signed in his mother's meticulous handwriting, cold and formal. "We would be pleased to host you and your family for Christmas this year." No mention of Elise. No mention of Ava. Just your family. Still, it was more than they'd expected. Elise had read it twice, her face unreadable. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Martin had paused, unsure. "I don't know, but maybe it's a start." Elise had heard that before. She'd walked into enough rooms where her presence was met with silence, not cruelty, something worse, strained civility. But for Martin, and now for Ava, she agreed. She always did. They'd met in college. Martin, the quiet one in the back of the ethics seminar, Elise, the bold voice that carried across the lecture hall. Their love had grown slow and steady, the kind that endures. When they married, Elise had walked down the aisle knowing exactly what she was marrying into. His parents had shown up, but never smiled. They didn't dance. They didn't welcome her. The following years were filled with card-signed obligations, calls that rang empty, and long pauses between visits. Then came the long, painful road to parenthood, miscarriages, failed IVF rounds, quiet sobs in the dark. Until one day, they chose something different. Not a backup plan. A new path. Adoption. Ava came to them from a local agency, 5 years old and solemn. She didn't speak much at first, but halfway through a walk on a gray February day, she slipped her hand into Elise's. That was it. She was theirs. She called Elise mom within a week. She called Martin dad from the start. But Martin's parents never followed suit. His mother, on their one visit after the adoption, had smiled, tight, distant, and said to Ava, "Well, aren't you a little sweetheart?" Then she took a family photo without her. Ava never asked why. She didn't need to. She already understood. And now, on the edge of another visit, maybe their last, Martin packed gifts by hand. He wrapped them in brown paper with twine, scribbled names with care. For Ava, he found a velvet dress that shimmered with tiny silver snowflakes. One night, when Elise and Ava had gone to bed, he sat at the kitchen table and completed a DNA test, not because he doubted anything, but because some old wound in him needed it. Just in case, Elise prepared for the visit with her usual quiet diligence. She packed Ava's books, her fox plushie, and even extra gifts in case others forgot. She practiced greetings with Ava, helped her memorize names. Ava was endlessly excited, talking about snowball fights and songs by the fire. She drew pictures for each cousin and folded them into glittery envelopes. "So they know I love them," she explained. The morning they left, Ava stood in her puffy jacket, cheeks flushed with anticipation. Martin carried the gifts. Elise carried coffee and directions. The car rolled north, past frozen fields and silent forests. When the house came into view, all lights and wreaths and postcard perfection, Ava gasped. "Is that Grandma's house?" she whispered. Martin nodded. "It is." The door opened before they knocked. Margaret stood in the entry, lips painted red, smile brittle. "You made it," she said. She hugged Martin quickly, nodded at Elise, then looked down at Ava. "Hello. You must be Ava." Ava beamed and held out her envelope. "I made this for you." Margaret hesitated before taking it. "Thank you," she said flatly, then turned. "Come in. Dinner's almost ready." Inside, the house was alive with laughter, nieces and nephews darting past towering garlands, and a glittering Christmas tree. No stocking for Ava. No photo with space for 3 more. No place card with her name. That evening, Ava sat politely at dinner, her manners perfect. She passed dishes, smiled, but no one asked her favorite food. No one asked her anything. Elise watched it all with grace, her spine straight. She had seen this before. Later, in bed, Ava whispered, "I think the purple present under the tree is mine. It has a snowman." Elise kissed her forehead. "Maybe it is." But Martin sat with the manila folder in his lap, heart sinking. The next morning, Ava dressed herself before anyone else stirred. Her dress shimmered. Her smile was radiant. Downstairs, presents piled beneath the tree. Ava found a spot at the edge of the circle, near a cousin who didn't look at her. Margaret began handing out gifts. Names were called. Wrapping paper flew. Ava clapped, cheered, beamed for others. Her own name was never called. She kept looking at the purple box. It remained untouched. At last, Martin stepped forward. "Is there one for Ava?" The room fell silent. Margaret didn't blink. "We only bought gifts for family." Martin froze. Elise did not move. Ava's voice, when she spoke, was barely a whisper. "Did Grandma forget mine?" The pain in that moment carved itself into every breath Martin would ever take again. Elise knelt beside Ava. "You did nothing wrong." "I know," Ava whispered. "Maybe next year." Martin didn't cry. He didn't yell. But that night, as his daughter fell asleep without a story, he picked up the folder. "I'm done," he said. He walked into the main house and placed the documents in front of his mother. "This is Ava," he said. "This proves it. But I shouldn't have to prove it." She flipped through the papers. Birth certificate, legal guardianship, a DNA confirmation, proof she was his, proof she was theirs. "She's just a child," Margaret murmured. "No," Martin said. "She's my child. And if you treat her like this again, you won't see any of us again." Margaret said nothing. The next morning, she knocked on the door of the guest house. In her hand, a gift wrapped in silver paper. "I forgot this yesterday," she said, kneeling in front of Ava. Ava opened it slowly. Inside, professional watercolor paints. A new sketchbook. A card. "Do you want me to draw you something?" Ava asked. "I'd like that very much," Margaret replied. And that was the beginning. Not of forgiveness, not yet, but of something real. Weeks passed. Ava never asked about the trip. Never asked to go back. But one day, a letter arrived from Margaret. Inside, a single photo of Martin as a child and 7 words. "Family is who you fight for." No drama, just truth. And slowly, across months, things changed. Margaret called once a week. She asked about school, art, Ava's favorite color. In November, she said, "If you come this year, there will be a stocking with her name. A seat at the table. A gift, wrapped and waiting." So they went. And when they arrived, the house felt warmer. The stocking was there. The purple gift, too. Ava opened it with quiet confidence. A beautiful art set and a handwritten note. "I see you. I'm glad you're here." Later that day, Ava drew a picture at the kitchen table. A girl holding hands with 2 tall figures, a house behind them, and a silver-haired woman near the tree. She titled it "The Road Home." Martin saw it, kissed her forehead, said nothing, because he didn't need to. In the stillness of that winter night, they began again, not by erasing the past, but by choosing love where silence had once lived. And that, more than any gift, was the one Ava deserved.